up for the fishing season ahead. Huge thunderstorms remind the fishermen that the monsoon season will soon be here, and with it a time of plenty. With the rains and the resulting floods come millions of fish that have swam in from the Mekong River, itself now in full flood. The fish swim into the nutrient-rich waters of the forest where they breed. This creates one of the most productive freshwater fisheries anywhere in the world, and their harvest is one of the most prolific. Unlike elsewhere in the world, these torrential rains and severe floods bring productivity, joy and happiness. Half a million tons of fish are harvested from the lake every year. But the fish traps inadvertently drown hundreds of thousands of water snakes. My plan is to search these traps to track down a snake that is unique to this part of the world and quite unlike any snake I've ever seen before, then release them back into the wild.
It's difficult to work like this. I got them. Got all the spikes out. That's what's holding everything in. I cannot believe this. Look at this. You won't believe what's going on in here. I've got to be very careful because I don't know what all these species are. There's a lot of different water snakes in this. I know some of them are venomous as well. They seem to be mostly water snakes. I just got to be careful. Sometimes cobras and stuff get caught in here as well. Look at all these snakes.
But the snake that I am after was still nowhere to be seen.
I'm going to save them. They're not going to drown.
I was rescuing more and more snakes to be released later. We went through dozens of traps and hundreds of snakes. We came across species that I'd never seen before.
I think I see what I'm looking for in here. This is it. I think this is the guy I've been looking for. Wow. Another snake I've never seen in live before. Not even in captivity. I've only seen them in pictures. And that is a tentacle snake. And you can see why it's called a tentacle snake. All you have to do is look at that head. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? That is the only snake in the world that has twin tentacles right on its nose like that.
Nobody knows what the tentacles are for, but one theory is that it helps them when hunting. Tentacle snakes are wholly aquatic, only coming to the surface to breathe. They spend their entire lives in water, but in spite of this, they are surprisingly weak swimmers and are confined to slow-moving streams, rivers and lakes. They anchor themselves by their tails to vegetation, from where they wait to ambush their prey. They go rigid and completely motionless, mimicking twigs or vegetation. They adopt a bizarre hunting pose, forming a distinctive J shape with their bodies. Once set, they simply wait for a browsing fish to stray too close, before striking with amazing ferocity.
With all these people here and right on this lake, you'd probably think this is the last place in the world to actually come looking for specific snakes. And yet, as it turns out, because of the traps going on here, because of the fishing, it's been the actual perfect place for me to find exactly what I was looking for.
But now it's time to push on with the job in hand, tracking down and photographing the flying snakes amongst the ruined temples of the Khmer Empire. Will I complete my mission and get photographs of the elusive flying snake? I'm on a mission to photograph the amazing golden flying snakes. I want to get a shot of the snake in mid-flight, flying from one tree to another. This may be an impossible task, but I've chosen the perfect location, open canopy and heaps of flying snakes. They move secretively amongst the branches, but every now and then you get a glimpse as they sail from one tree to the next. That's what I'm waiting for. It's then that I have to be quick.
They move like greased lightning, and I'm after them all the time. I've even had birds calling, some birds calling, which was like alarm call, brought me right to a snake. I can barely see them. They're so fast and so well camouflaged. This is going to be a much tougher job than I ever expected.
No luck with the flying snake, so I've decided to travel to the nearby rice paddies, where I hope to find a much more aggressive animal. "85% of Cambodians live off the land, and it is amongst the rubber plantations and rice paddies that they come across the region's most abundant venomous snake. It's a fast-striking ambush predator with huge fangs, deadly venom, and the most cryptic camouflage. The snake lies in wait along the same tracks that people work and children play. It strikes with tremendous ferocity at anything or anyone that comes too close. Far too often, that is bare feet. Thousands of bites are recorded every year, but many more go unreported.
The snake that I'm actually hoping to find in this area is the Malayan pit viper. This is a prolific snake that's found all over Southeast Asia, and they cause the most snake bite casualties of any snake in this area. Now, normally I'd look for the snake in the forest, but they're so well camouflaged. I could spend weeks in a forest, but what happens here is that the water floods in the paddy fields and the snakes get forced to the edges, and they sit themselves here on the pathways where the people work. Now, this is very dangerous because, of course, people could approach, step on them, put their hands on them, picking up grass, and get bitten by these snakes.
It's the beginning of the monsoon, and potentially the most dangerous time for farmers.
Just look at this. Just look at this. Can you see that? Look at that. Just the nose. Remember what I said? Perfectly camouflaged. Incredibly camouflaged. Hang on. Just dump this down here. Look at this guy here. It's exactly what I'm looking for. Have a look. Tell me if you can see that. He's flashing the tongue at me. He can smell. He doesn't know what's going on. He's just checking out. Is he in danger or isn't he? I'm going to just pull him out and see if you can have a good look at his body and see what his sort of reaction would be. There we go. At the moment, he's not sure what's going on. Oh, he doesn't like that at all. Slightest movement. He's watching me. Okay, and he's got quite a long lunge, as you can see. Oh, look at that. He can stretch out quite far. And the little heat receptors are in between the nose and the eye. So if a mouse came past, he picks up the heat of that mouse. And even if it was in the dark, he'll still strike accurately at that mouse. Eh, you cross with me? Yeah. Oh, he says, I'm furious. I'm going to bite you if I get near. Don't touch me. I'm going to bite. Look at that. Oh, bit me right in the foot. Right in the foot. The venom is like a terrible blood and tissue destroying poison. It's not something you want to get bitten by because it causes terrible damage to the limb. Especially if it's in the foot, you'd cause a lot of necrosis. In some cases, you even have a limb amputated from a bite of a snake like this. All over Southeast Asia, they cause more bites than any other snake in there. Look at that strike. Look at that strike, okay? He's just lunging. He says, I'm furious. I'm going to kill something. They are terrified of the snake here. They call it, what they call the landmine snake, because it explodes out of the grass like this. And these guys know about landmines and exploding floor. So I'm going to catch the snake behind the head, expose those fangs, just give you a look at what I'm talking about. And this is the most dangerous thing. So I've got to be very careful, and I have to do it with the wrong hand because I've got to have my right hand on the head. So we're going to see if we can gently coax him into just keeping his position. Got to be very careful with this. You don't want the snake to panic. Don't want to hurt him. Definitely don't want to hurt me. He's very good. If he suddenly decides to rip himself loose, he can do that.